Whether you like Suicide Squad or don't like Suicide Squad, can we all agree on one thing? That Skrillex Rick Ross Purple Lamborghini song is fire! Forgive me for my wrongs, I have just begun! Blah, 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 mercy. Hi, I'm Andre, I'm a black nerd, and this is my spoilers review for Suicide Squad, or as some of you would say, my more spoilers review. Yes, some of you were quick to let me know that you thought that I spoiled the movie by revealing, spoiler, I'm trying to tell you a spoiler right now, that Enchantress was the main villain. And for that, hey, I'm sorry, my bad. I did say at the beginning of the video that it was a non-spoiler-ish review and that I was going to be revealing a couple of plot points. Well, that was one of the couple of plot points. So sorry that I warned you and you still watched and you got it, and then apologize for that, I guess. What? For me, spoilers are always things that I feel like if you know about them before seeing the movie, it ruins the movie experience. So for example, if you knew what happened to Coulson in Avengers, if you knew about the big reveal of the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, or what happens to Han Solo in The Force Awakens, you know that thing that some of you spoiled in the comments? I feel like that is a major reveal. I feel like that is something that you should not be told beforehand and that you should experience on your own. Revealing that at the end of this movie, the Joker busts Harley out of prison and takes her away with him, that's a spoiler. I didn't tell you that. Or that the Enchantress, even though she dies, June Moon still lives so that Rick Flag can still get some. That's a spoiler. Or that Killer Croc gets BET installed into his prison room. That's a spoiler. I love that. You guys can have anything you want. BET, I want to see some ass. Honestly, Enchantress never feels like a hero that then turns into a villain that turns into a bigger villain. It's already pretty laid out for her in the movie that she is the bad guy from the jump. Like the first time you see her use her power, look at that heart that she wants to get back, and look at Amanda Waller, and then when she turns back to June Moon being like, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to be like this, and split between the two characters, it's kind of set up right there. That's the bad guy. And then literally in the next scene, she's trying to take the heart back. I didn't tell you everything about her. I didn't tell you about her brother. Enchantress frees her brother and then puts her brother inside of a brother. And then, and then when she connects with her brother, she's all like, we gotta make this device. Why a person who does magic needs to create a machine, I don't know. And then they work together to take over the world because apparently they used to rule over humans years ago or something. I don't know. I don't read subtitles. There's never a moment where she's with the squad. She never has a scene with the rest of the Suicide Squad except for Amanda Waller or Rick Flag until the very end when they have to take her out. That's a big difference than if she was a member of the team, worked with the team, and then became the villain. If that would have happened, I would not have said anything. But Enchantress is set up to be the villain from the start. I will keep this in mind when I make future reviews, but just know that it was not done to ruin your movie experience. And for me personally, knowing Enchantress is the villain in this does not ruin the movie experience. If anything, being able to say who the villain is and say that it's the bad part of the movie and not saying too much about the other stuff in the movie makes you, I think, appreciate the stuff that's really good about this movie more, so that when you get to that part, you could be like, oh, Andre mentioned that this part was bad, now I understand. So now I'm not taking that as strongly as I myself had to take it when I saw it for the first time. You can now enjoy the rest of the movie for what it is. I'm actually trying to make the movie experience better for you than it was for me. See, I'm trying to help you and you complain. Her brother being a CGI monster, he can move around and attack the Suicide Squad while Enchantress is just in the background, popping and locking and doing all this stuff like she's a freaking crazy belly dancer. Hi, I'm Enchantress, follow me. She's probably listening to that Purple Lamborghini song. She probably had some headphones in her ears, and the whole time she was doing this, she was all like, Mercy, drop that beat, bump, 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 bump. And then all the bubble wrap looking black people, not black people, but like the actual color black bubble wrap people, they're actually real people. She makes out with them, and that's what turns them into that thing. And for me, I would say, hey man, if turning into that thing is what I have to do to be able to make out with Cara Delevingne, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Pop, 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 pop. But that's basically Suicide Squad's way of being PG-13. We're killing a bunch of people, but because they look like black bubble pop people, and it's cool. It's all right. I can slice their head off or shoot them or beat them with a baseball bat. It's cool. They're real people, but it's cool because they look like not real people. PG-13. Just even the whole setup of like, oh, she's this archaeologist and she found this weird statue and then she ripped its head off, which released the Enchantress. Like, what archaeologist finds an ancient thing and then goes, rip, and then that thing starts flowing around and then put it in your mouth, put it in your mouth, put Enchantress in your mouth. Wow, I took it back. Why was that song not in the soundtrack of this movie? I'm sorry if I keep harping on Enchantress. Honestly, I just don't know why that character didn't work for me. I mean, Cara Delevingne, I didn't have a problem with her as a person. I just felt like that character and bringing magic into Suicide Squad so early, I just felt like that was a big misstep. Because the things that I really love about this movie are the small scale stuff. The characters, the things that they do together, their camaraderie, their interactions with each other. That's the stuff that I really like about this movie. One of my absolute favorite scenes in this movie, the bar scene, where they sit in the bar and they just talk to each other. And the movie feels like it feels like a break. It feels like a little break time for everybody after all the craziness with this movie, both the good and the bad. There's not crazy pop songs playing loudly in the background. It's not a lot of action or CGI going on. It's literally all the characters sitting down and just talking to each other. And you learn a lot of stuff about them. You learn that Deadshot is an assassin, but he never kills women and children. We learn about Diablo's backstory, which was a really well done backstory about how he's had this demonic power of being able to do fire, and he decided to use it to make him more powerful in his neighborhood, but at the same time, he had this family, this wife and children that he loved. Eventually the two collided, and the rage got to him so much after being confronted about it by his wife that he couldn't control his fire, and he burned his house down, and he burned his wife and his children, which I thought that was a very deep thing. And what I really liked was after you get this tragic story and everyone you're thinking is gonna be like, oh my God, I'm sorry, oh that's so sad. Harley Quinn just right off the bat just goes, own that shit. And she goes into this whole tirade about, look, we are messed up people. We are not allowed to have a wife and kids. We're not allowed to have your daughter, Deadshot. We're not allowed to have the relationship that she has with the Joker being a normal relationship. They are crazy, messed up, bad people, so they don't deserve the sweet, simple, domestic parts of life that most people get to enjoy. And I also love the part, and even though it was very subtle, I love that they talked about how they were ugly on the inside but beautiful on the outside, except for Killer Croc. And Killer Croc's like, I'm beautiful. I even like that because usually when you see a character in these types of movies and they have some kind of deformity or something wrong with them, it's always this whole, oh, I'm moping and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, this is amazing. Superman has all the craziest powers in the world and can save the world, and he's all sitting around moping all the time. In 2 movies, Killer Croc looks like a half crocodile. He's just like, whatever, I'm a beautiful man. Turn on some BET, let me look at some ass. It's just a really good scene, and it shows the absolute best part of this movie is that cast and those characters, and they work together. There's even a very funny part when Rick Flag is like, you know what, you guys are done, you can go. And Captain Boomerang just runs out of that thing so fast. It's weird because he rejoins the team right after it with no explanation whatsoever, but at least that part was funny. It does get a little sappy at the end when Rick Flag gives Deadshot letters that his daughter wrote, because I'm like, why did you have those letters on you right now in the middle of a mission? But it still was a very good scene. Yeah, this movie just works best when it's at a small scale. Like, you could have taken this squad on a suicide mission that wasn't a save the world type of mission, and I think it would have worked. Or maybe the Suicide Squad should have went on a mission that was not the Enchantress mission first, succeeded or failed in that mission, and then that could have led to the events that we eventually get to. Just something that would have shown more of them working together without putting the plot into it, so we could just get more interactions with these characters, because like I said, that's what works best about this thing. And let me just say about this movie, and sorry if this feels social justice-y, I just love that there was just a variety of different faces in this movie. It was a diverse cast, and it was a diverse cast that didn't have to point out it was a diverse cast. It just happened to be the way that it was. And not even just the main cast, just the city itself. When you saw people in the background, it just felt like it was a nice mix of color on the screen, in addition to the colors that they were splatting all over the screen. There's been so many talks about movies lately, particularly superhero comic book movies, of are they showing enough women? Are they showing enough diversity? And this, that, and the other. And it was just nice with this one that you didn't even have to question it. It just was there. It wasn't even pointed out that much. It just happened. Yeah, man, the squad's really good in this movie, except for Slipknot, but it's not Slipknot's problem. They did Slipknot wrong, man. In the movie, they tell you that they put these devices inside the Suicide Squad, so if they step out of line, if they do anything wrong, all they gotta do is pull out an app, press their face on the app, and then kaboom, their head explodes. As Harley Quinn points out, it's a killer app, which was a lame joke, but I laughed at it. I'm sorry, I thought it was funny. Boomerang talks to Slipknot, is like, hey man, we should get out of here. We should just leave. And Slipknot Slipknot leaves, Boomerang does not leave, and Slipknot dies. Y'all did Slipknot wrong. It's almost not even a spoiler to know that Slipknot dies. The movie pretty much tells you this guy's gonna die. Because they do this whole beginning sequence of like, here's every character from the Suicide Squad. And they get a trading card stat frame, and then they get a music video for a little bit of showing what their backstory is. And everybody gets that except for Slipknot. Slipknot shows in about 20, 38 minutes in the movie and go, oh yeah, this is Slipknot. He's part of the team too. And you're just like, okay, red shirt. Personally, that's why I was worried the whole time about Katana. I thought Katana was gonna die in this thing because we don't see her until even later in the movie, but she does not die. Nor does she have a lot of scenes, but she does not die. I like Joker and Harley together the few times that we get it, but you can feel that there's a little bit more to their relationship that is great and also twisted that they really didn't get into. Joker and Harley have always had a messed up relationship. Even in the animated series, there were times when Harley Quinn almost shot and killed the Joker because she just had enough, but of course the gun would pop a little flag out and go bang, and then Joker, you think would be mad, he just goes, baby, you're the greatest. Their relationship is messed up, and it's too bad that this movie had so much it had to do that you couldn't really focus on that. That's almost a movie, or at least a part of like a Batman movie or something else in itself. I hope that when Harley Quinn gets her eventual spin-off movie, then that maybe they can explore that origin a little bit more while also giving us more of Harley Quinn, because I feel like that she was really good and Margot Robbie was really good at portraying Harley Quinn. I think you can even go a little bit more crazy with her. Just more of just that Harley that I love from the animated series. But they weren't alone in this movie. There were some cameos. We all knew about Batman showing up. We knew that Batman was going to have some interaction with the Joker and Harley Quinn. But what I didn't know was that Batman was also going to have some interaction with Deadshot. You get a whole scene of Deadshot's backstory of how he got caught, which he was with his daughter. He does not have full custody of his daughter because, you know, he's an assassin and kills people. But because he's such a good shot, he's hard to stop. So Batman actually confronts Deadshot while he's with his daughter. Of course, Deadshot wants to shoot Batman instantly, but his daughter is like, no, you know, you can't kill people because you killing people is the reason why we're not together to begin with. Of course, Deadshot's daughter is his weakness, so he gives himself up to Batman, which you can tell he really hates about it. And you even find out later when there's this whole scene with Enchantress saying, I can give you anything you want, even though it's all illusions. The illusion that Deadshot has is killing Batman. It's a really powerful scene because you can see how much love that Deadshot, or Will Smith in this case, is acting, how he feels for his daughter, how he loves his daughter so much that he's willing to turn himself in, but at the same time, you could tell he's like, Batman, seriously? You gonna do this in front of my daughter? You know what you did, right? You know you got a mark on your head for that. You know that, right? If they're gonna make a Batman movie, I'm just saying, this scene, keep that in mind. I kind of like the idea of maybe Deadshot sneaking his way out of the Suicide Squad for a little bit and ending up in that Batman movie as a rival to Batman. I think that would be really, really cool. Because it's Will Smith, it'll probably be a thing of like, well, we don't like each other, but there's a greater evil out there, so we have to work together this time, but then I'm back to going away and still hating you. Kind of like how they do sometimes with Batman and Catwoman. I can see that happening, but at the same time, I think a Ben Affleck Batman and a Will Smith Deadshot in the same movie that's focused around them would be really good. Just something to throw out there, Warner Brothers, DC. You know, seems like you can pretty much do whatever you want at this point. So give it a shot. Take a risk. We also get the Flash in this movie. We find out that the Flash stops Captain Boomerang. So that was kind of interesting. I did not expect the Flash at all. So it was kind of a nice surprise to see him in there. Shows that they're really trying to drop these pieces of the Justice League to eventually get to that movie. But the big piece that we get to really connect to that movie is in the mid-credit scene where Bruce Wayne meets up with Amanda Waller. Of course, Amanda Waller has all this information about these metahumans and villains that she's captured. So Bruce Wayne is like, well, if you got all this information, Amanda Waller, about these evil people with special abilities, you must have some information about some other people out there with special abilities. Can I get a copy of that? And so she gives him this binder, and it has information about the Flash and Aquaman in it. I don't know why he necessarily needs this information, because we thought that he got this information already from the stuff he got from Lex Luthor in the email that he sent to Wonder Woman, but maybe he just needed some more details. Plus, it's more scenes with Amanda Waller, so I'm cool with it. My favorite part of the scene, the one that just made that part of my spine just go, ooh, was when Bruce Wayne's about to walk outside of this steak restaurant, which I guess that's the only place where Amanda Waller eats, because she's in that restaurant more than once in this movie. But he's about to leave, and she just goes, hey, Bruce, you're looking a little tired. Maybe you should stop working nights. And I was just like, damn! Amanda Waller, bam, bam, bam. Because you like, whoa, wait a minute. Is she saying that because Bruce Wayne is an eccentric billionaire and a businessman and she's thinking that he's working nights as a businessman? Or is she saying that because she's like, I'm freaking Amanda Waller. I know you, Batman. You can't fool me. I know everything. Either way, it was one of those perfect lines that it's like, it tells you something, but it doesn't put the bullseye right on it. And you're just like, Amanda Waller. That is what makes you interesting, and that's why you need to be in pretty much every DC movie from here on out. I don't know what contract Viola Davis has with DC about these movies, but she needs to be in all of them. All of them. Common is in this movie for some reason. That's it. I didn't really know how bad critics were being about this movie. When I filmed the video, I just had heard that the critics were not liking Suicide Squad. We can do this whole critic fan debate, and I didn't want to get into it because of all the craziness I went through with Ghostbusters. But let me be the one to tell you, and this is straight from my heart, like straight up honesty. This movie does not deserve that low of a score. To put this movie on the same scale with Green Lantern, I have seen people who usually don't even do the whole critic versus fan debate come out and say, I don't know what the critics are talking about. It's one thing when the hardcore fanboys are saying, this is insane. But when I know sensible, level-headed, chilled out people who are going to see this movie and going, yeah, them critics are wrong. This is a straight up popcorn flick type of movie. It's just, its plot is all over the place because it's just your basic mainstream summer movie type of plot. That's his big problem with it. Some of you will not even be that concerned about the plot and will enjoy the whole thing, and you have every right to. Some people will not be able to forgive that plot, or they may not like the stylistic choices that this movie has made and not enjoy it. And I understand all of those thoughts. Bottom line, if you like superhero movies and can forgive bad plot elements, you will enjoy this movie. This movie is problematic, but to say that this movie is just outright terrible, I can't personally see that. I have seen much worse. Much worse. Even some worse movies that I like. And I sometimes will even get myself affected by all that nonsense, all that noise out there before seeing a movie and then seeing the movie and feeling like I have to express it. I wanted to express it for this, but I'm gonna tell you, man, in the future, I'm not gonna care about any of that nonsense, and I'm not even gonna bring it up when I talk about it in reviews. The reviews for me, my Black Nerd reviews, they're about Andre and what Andre thinks about the movie. So for the future, I'm not gonna talk about critics. I'm not gonna talk about fans. I'm only gonna give you the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions that come from me personally to you, because that's what these are about. It's about my personal opinion, and just like everyone else out there, I can have my own opinion, just like you can have yours, and even if we are completely opposite or don't agree, it's okay, because at the end of the day, it's just a fucking movie to make some old businessman in a building in Burbank, California make a bunch of money that doesn't affect us in one way or the other. So it's not really worth the time and energy to get so mad about it. I think that's it. I think I've said all I need to say about this movie. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks for enjoying this, and I hope you did enjoy it. All right, so the only thing left now is to go see 9 Lives, isn't it? Y'all gonna make me go see that movie, ain't you? Thanks for watching this video. If you're new here, please subscribe. I make new nerdy videos all week, every week. I love you like a play cousin. I'm Addy 5000. Chain chomp yomp.